Welcome back to the comic panel. My name is Mike, Grogan, Andy.
Today, we'd like to talk a little bit about something that you've read in a comic book that taught you something that you learned from a comic book that you maybe wouldn't have learned from another source. The one that always pops into my mind right away is I learned what a ninja was in Manhunter. Archie Goodwin and Walt Simonson did it back in, I believe, 73, 74. I might be wrong on that. But that's what I learned what a ninja assassin was. I had no idea what a ninja was. That excellent story, by the way. If you get a chance, read it. But that's what I found out what a ninja was, that it was a type of assassin that was similar to a samurai, but not the same. And, you know, that kind of thing. And a ninja warrior taught the Manhunter, you know, martial arts and the art of stealth and things like that. That's the thing that sticks in my head. I do know for a fact, though, that comic books really expanded my vocabulary, especially when I was a kid. So just words in general.
Like the word the.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps. You know, sometimes I get stuck there. Well, with me, it was Thor. You know, when people make fun of comics, they're just funny books and some things that are said like that, you can go back and get educated from a book. And for me, it was Thor. I truly found out what happened to Odin, why he only has one eye. It was given a choice to him. He can have more wisdom so he can be a better leader. But he has to give up something of himself. So he thought long and hard. Should I give up a hand, an arm, a leg, an ear? And he decided for more wisdom, I could do without one eye. And that's definitely part of the folklore. It doesn't happen in the Thor movies. They take it a different route. But in the books,
the sagas,
and this folklore, it is he gives up an eye for more wisdom. And I learned that. In fact, through Thor, you learn a lot about the storylines and the folklore. But that's what I've learned. That's what I took home.
That's great. For me, it was Amazing Spider-Man 574. It was an issue where Flash Thompson comes back from war, either Afghanistan or Iraq, one of those places. And it wasn't so much, it was a standalone story about how Flash is overcoming his injuries, how Spider-Man was his hero. I think he saved somebody and he said, you know, he was trying to emulate his hero Spider-Man. But it was one of those, like the old Stan Lee soapbox type. It wasn't the regular newsletter page. There was a column in it. And for some reason, I stopped and actually read it. Usually I gloss over that and just flip to the next panel. And I was reading it, and it was about how the writer of that story met this soldier out one night, and his story inspired him that much. He became friends with him, invited him down to the Marvel Studios, met the artists and writers, and he put this story together based off of his conversation with this guy as a tribute to, I guess, the soldiers that experienced it. But it was really, to me, it was very interesting seeing that how this writer met this guy, how they became friends, and how he was able to take the events of what these soldiers go through and turn it into a story with one of the main characters, and really gave Flash Thompson, Flash a different edge.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was a great one-shot story, so that was my thing. So
we have education in comics in this manner. How about comics that are meant to educate you right from the start? Marvel has a bunch of Classic Illustrated. They have a story about Moby Dick. We have a story, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. These are just some of the books out there that are gearing you to say, don't just read words. We have pictures here to help you convey the idea. So that way, if you take in education through other means than just words, if art helps you understand the thing, now you got great works of art in comic book form. I like that version. What about you?
Art brings the story to life.
Yes.
Well, EC Comics really started out, if you know what EC Comics is, they became famous for their horror books, but really, and it eventually stood for entertaining comics. But at first, it was supposed to be educational comics, and MC Gaines, he wanted to do things like Classic Illustrated. He wanted to present the Bible and other things that he thought were very important in a sequential art form to get out there as an educational thing. So that's been something that's really kind of been part of comics, American comics anyway, kind of from the beginning. And also during the Second World War, there was a lot of American men that were drafted into the Army and the Navy, and a lot of them either didn't speak a lot of English, or they were illiterate. And the Army figured out pretty quickly that by using sequential art, comics, that they could really get across what they were saying without having to have a big manual with all kinds of words that maybe people didn't quite understand. They could have a little comic strip type of thing, and that would get the point across, what they were trying to say. This is the way you hold your rifle.
Simple stuff.
Don't cross those two wires, you'll blow up. That kind of stuff. There was a lot of things that they could do with the comics as a medium that maybe someone who wasn't quite a good as fluent in English could understand, and they could get them to the front lines a lot quicker.
And then we got in the 80s when, was it the 80s, like the new Teen Titans, the anti-drug campaign, comic books that were out, that were geared towards the kids, and, to get that message out, don't do drugs. And I remember seeing those. I never owned any of them, but I remember seeing them.
Yeah, I remember Cap had one on the cover. He's throwing his shield, and the word drugs is being smashed. He's like, he's taking the fight to drugs, which is great because it gives, again, education in a different medium. If you're not just going to read words, now you got pictures to go along with it.
Pretty much everybody can understand pictures. I mean, like even cave drawings. I mean, you know what's going on. They're hunting those animals and that kind of thing, and we don't have to speak their language. We can see what they're doing, and we can see the action and understand what happened thousands of years ago, if not tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of years ago.
Agreed.
So you can learn a lot from reading a comic book.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you for watching. Please, if you have any comments, subscribe to our channel. And again,
like us on Facebook.
What's
like
that?
Us on Facebook.
Oh,
like us on Facebook.
These guys know. I lost it. Please like us on Facebook. Please like us. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Now get out of here.